comes in hopeless at the end of his tether with no life in view. And we send him out the door with a whole new hope for the future.
This Sunday, Garth and Natasha speak with Tiffany and Jean-Machelle about Crossroads, its operations and achievements, in addition treatment. You will also get a virtual tour of this stunning facility. Could Tobago benefit from this approach to drug treatment? You, the people of Tobago, can have your say. You don't want to miss Eye on Dependency this Sunday from 6:15 p.m. Listen live on I-95.5 FM and watch live on the Eye on Dependency Facebook page or YouTube channel. Tell someone.
This is Eye on Dependency with Garth and Natasha, Sundays at 6:15 p.m. on the most influential name in radio, I-95.5 FM.
When the wind blows down this heart, many a bond is broken. See the water lie on the ground from where the heavens open. Lord, how will you get through this night with your dreams departed? And who alone will comfort you? Only the broken hearted. So you've gone beyond your needs.
Good evening, Trinidad and Tobago, and welcome to Eye on Dependency. We don't own the rights to this music, but it's a sure fine way to start this segment of Eye on Dependency this evening as we speak with our colleagues and friends in Antigua in a moment. Good evening, Natasha.
Good evening, Garth. Good evening, Trinidad and Tobago, and a special good evening to Tobago. This program is for you.
Oh, yeah. We've done it before, and we promise that we'll do it again. And this time, we continue again, once again, we continue to focus on rehab facilities in the Caribbean. Remember, we hooked up with Barbados recently. So we head across to Antigua this time, and we speak with folks at Crossroads Rehabilitation Centre. Beautiful, stunning place, well put away, and you will get a chance to see that. So if you know somebody in Tobago who needs to see this, please let them know, share it with them. And remember, we are live on our Independency Facebook page and YouTube channel.
Yes, we also gonna speak with two members of staff at Crossroads about what they do, and it's a useful exercise for local, when I say local, Trinidad-based drug treatment, to hear what their approach is like. It's not too much different to the global approach, but we're gonna hear about how it started, the services that they offer, and their treatment philosophy, the admissions process, the recovery process, the aftercare process. We're going to go into detail about what Crossroads is about and how they have managed to mend the brokenhearted, as the song says by Eric Clapton, to sort of mend the brokenhearted souls who are suffering with the disease of addiction.
Eric Clapton, by the way, as you know, that musical genius is the one who came up with the concept for Crossroads, and actually Crossroads down there for the people of Antigua. So we'll hear more about that when we hook up with Dr. Jean-Machelle, Benn-Dubois, and Tiffany Smith. We'll hear more about them, who they are. We'll be speaking with them in a while. But first, we want to introduce you to the entire team at Crossroads. So we're going to play this short video where you'll hear from members of the team, starting with the man in charge and everybody else who plays their supporting role.
Before we do that, though, I would like to say we send our love and support and prayers to Comrade Gonzalez, who we have spoken to on Iron Dependency before, and the people of St. Vincent and the Grenadines as they endure nature's fury right now with the eruption of La Soufrière. Just know that, we are one Caribbean, despite what we practice. We are one Caribbean. You do have brothers and sisters in Trinidad and Tobago who are thinking and praying for you.
Of course, and to our Honorable Prime Minister, Dr. Keith Rowley, as well, who is recovering from the deadly COVID virus, so that we wish him a speedy recovery as well. And all those of you out there who still not paying heed, well, what more can we say? So let's go to the first presentation we have for you this evening. And then remember, we have a tour of this facility for you to see for yourself. And we'll elaborate after we speak with the two professionals at Crossroads and we bid them farewell. Then we'll have our conversation with you, Tobago. All right, so let's go to that introduction, Crossroads and the folks there.
Nikos Paratikos. I'm the CEO of Crossroads Centre Antigua. I have the fortune of been doing that for 4 years now. I come from a business background. I believe in recovery very much. Both myself and other members of my family have benefited from it. I was living in Europe. I was semi-retired, and I got a phone call one day from the chairman of the board saying, would you consider doing this? And I thought, this is not something that I need to really think about too much. And I very quickly said yes. And it's been one of the most amazing experiences and adventures. And for me to be involved in this at this stage of my life is an amazing gift. I love it. I think I'm pretty good at it. And of course, I've come and joined an amazing team of people who are really committed to what they're doing.
I'm Joanne Gonzalez. I'm the clinical director here at Crossroads. I've been here actually 20 years. So I've had really the privilege of starting here as a primary therapist, as a family therapist, clinical manager, and now the clinical director. I'm actually from Antigua. I left Antigua when I was really young. I left when I was 5, so I grew up in New York, went to school there. Then starting in this industry, I started in Miami, and I worked in, a couple of different dynamics in this industry in Miami. And at some point, it was time. It was time to come home. And coming home was a big decision, especially in the profession that I was in, that there weren't a lot of opportunities, but I had some family issues happening here at the time, which was also weighing on me to come home. And literally, I landed here. I interviewed, I think, maybe 4 or 5 days after I landed. And between landing in Antigua, I was literally working at Crossroads 12 days later. So it was a gift.
Jean-Machelle. I am the Director of Admissions and Continuing Care. Came to Crossroads as it was always a passion of mine to work in the field of addiction. And I have done quite a bit of international work, and Crossroads did present the international clientele that I was familiar with. If you love it, it's not work. And as a psychologist, that's something that I know firsthand. You love it, you do it every day without thinking about it. And Crossroads did provide the perfect atmosphere for you to get an idea of the different cultures, the different race, ethnicity, and how it is that we deal with a common issue, which is addiction, substance addiction.
My name is Tiffany Smith, and I'm the admissions coordinator at Crossroads Centre, Antigua. I have been working here for almost 3 years. Certainly, it is such an uplifting and gratifying experience seeing persons who really have committed to the process and have made the changes. And, when you get the reports back a year later that, you've made a difference in my life and I am still keeping on the straight and narrow, and I'm doing my best and life is looking up. I want to be a part of this community of helping others and bringing about positive and rejuvenating change.
So there you heard from the team, which is, the team is much larger than that, obviously. But see, these are the key people at Crossroads. And before we hook up with Jean-Machelle and Tiffany, we will take a short break and let Short Man do his due. And when we come back, we will be joined by those two ladies from Antigua.
This is reality radio at its best. Eye on Dependency on I-95.5 FM.
Eye on Dependency with Garth and Natasha.
Reality radio at its best, where every life is a biography.
Sundays at 6:15 p.m. and exclusively on I-95.5 FM.
And broadcast live on the Eye on Dependency Facebook page.
Agricola is back with loan promotions that will make you go wow! Wow! The computer and internet bundle CIB loan. Get a maximum of $15,000 with just a 0.75% interest rate. Call or come into our offices at Pro Queen Street, Arima, 667-7633. Pamela's Mall, Marabella, 219-7745. Scarborough, Tobago, 639-6468. Or Port of Spain, 627-3127. Agricola Credit Union, your very own, working for you.
Las peores formas de trabajo infantil incluyen el tráfico de menores, la prostitución infantil, la pornografía infantil, el reclutamiento forzado, el tráfico de drogas, los trabajos arriesgados y peligrosos. Esto es aplicable a los niños menores de 18 años. Si lo ves o sospechas que está ocurriendo, denúncialo a la Counter Trafficking Unit en el 804-288 o la Unidad de Inspección del Trabajo en el 299-0300, opción 3. Un mensaje de la Counter Trafficking Unit y el Ministerio de Trabajo.
Hey there, here's some exciting news. Childline, together with UNICEF, created an app for children and young persons. A selection of cool and colorful avatars to choose from? Check. Need somewhere private to write your thoughts and feelings? Check. How about a place to keep track of your daily news? Check. Also, if you ever need someone to talk to, Childline's toll-free helpline is always a click away, or someone is always waiting on the other end of a live chat to talk about anything. The Childline app also places your rights as a child in the palm of your hand. Just ask Nessa. There are also other fun, educational, safety, and helpful resources available on the app. Download the Childline app today, and you too can have access to all this and more.
Hello, I am Professor Trevor Hassel, and you're listening to Eye on Dependency with Garth and Natasha on Talk City 91.1 FM, Trinidad and Tobago.
And you're live on I-95.5 FM and live on the Independency Facebook page and, of course, our YouTube channel. You're listening to Independency, and we have, they are all look confused. You're on 95.5, folks, with Garth and Natasha. Hello, good evening, Dr. Jean-Machelle Dubois and Tiffany Smith. Are you guys hearing us?
Yes, I am.
Yes.
And welcome to Independency, folks.
Welcome.
And thank you so much for taking the time out to speak with us, and of course, to let those here and abroad know about Crossroads Rehabilitation Center. And of course,
Thanks for having us.
you're welcome. Be welcome, most welcome. And Dr. Jean-Machelle Dubois is up on screen, who is the Director of Admissions and Continuum Care. And Dr. Jean-Machelle has a huge list of accomplishments and achievements, and of course her academic journey started with a BSc in sociology and psychology, and from the University of the West Indies, Barbados, followed by an MA in clinical psychology from Roosevelt University, Chicago, Illinois, and a PhD in international psychology from the Chicago School of Professional Psychology. And of course, Tiffany Smith, who is the admissions coordinator. She's also a master's level therapist and master's level registered addiction specialist. Of course, Tiffany has been at Crossroads for the past 3 years. So ladies, thank you very much for joining us. And now, Dr. Dubois, Jean-Machelle Dubois, the foundation of Crossroads. Tell us about it, the founder, the rationale or the inspiration, and and the overview of the work. But let's start with the founder. How did he decide to do this in Antigua?
Okay, good evening, everyone, and hello to Trinidad and Tobago. I know my name is a mouthful, so feel okay to say Jean-Machelle.
That's fine. That's right.
So
So,
Crossroads
yes,
Centre started its journey.
yes. Tell us about the founder first. Let's start with that.
Well, we have to talk about, first of all, when we started and incorporate Mr. Clapton into that.
Right, the
So
founder.
the
Yes, the
foundation.
foundation. Yes.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So the facility started in 1998, and it started as a part of Eric Clapton's recovery journey. One of the essential features of our facility is about gratitude, giving back. And for him, Crossroads Center was an opportunity to really give back and as a part of supporting his ongoing recovery. He has always had a love for Antigua. And I think it was that love that made Crossroads Center situated where it is in Antigua. One of the founding ideas for him was his vision. And the vision, when he looked around at the alcohol situation that existed in Antigua in that time, 1998, was that it was very much a part of our culture, which meant that alcoholism was not viewed as a problem. As a matter of fact, if you couldn't hold your alcohol, you was weak. But in his recovery journey, he recognized the issue and the problem for what it was. It was addiction. And he also recognized that recovery was an essential feature and something that was possible because he was living the journey. He was living it, he was experiencing it. And his vision was really to create a center of excellence, to treat people in the Caribbean, just not Antigua, but people in the Caribbean and throughout the world. And that was the vision that led to Crossroads Center opening its door in 1998. It was not easy, of course, because he tells of his struggles, starting, stopping, before the perfect combination was found and the perfect set of staff and persons to work with were found as well. And that's how we started our journey.
Perfect. Nice. And so, but of course, Natasha, you could introduce
Well, of course. I mean, Dr. Jean-Machelle, tell us a little bit now about the focus of Crossroads. What addictions do you treat with and not treat with um, at the center?
Well, Crossroads is focused on chemical addiction, substance addiction. We know that addiction is duality and that it's rare for you to find anyone with simply a substance addiction. However, it started by focus on substance addiction. And even though over the years we've worked with clients who also present with process addiction, we've always made the substance addiction a priority, and that needed to be the first thing that our clients need to be struggling with and wanted to change in their life. So one of the essential parts of Crossroads Center is that we are an abstinence-based program. It's founded on the 12-step philosophy, and it is something that is infused strongly within our program from the very start, where we work with our clients to understand the need for honesty, the need to let go, the need to live one day at a time, the need to experience your feelings, share your feelings, and work through the challenges that comes with living and with feeling. All these are essential features of the 12-step philosophy. It's been an international philosophy. We know our clients are coming from international, wherever in the world it is. And so we wanted something that wherever our clients are located, they would have that ongoing support. Another feature for Crossroads Center, apart from our 12-step base, is the recognition that recovery is a long life process. And so for our program, it is not just getting you in the doors, working with you to abstain while with us, but it's continuing the journey with you throughout your process and your recovery journey. So our clients would start with us and they will continue with us. We will continue to do follow-up care with them. The recovery process for us means that we're looking at your general well-being. And so it's very comprehensive. Well-being for us is not just the absence of the substance. That is a key feature, but it's also how we help you to achieve balance, how we help you to achieve your nutritional health, how we help you to achieve optional emotional health, how we help you to focus on all the other things such as getting employment or changing location. So one of the things that is important for us when we look at our program and we talk about it is that the approach is a holistic one. And that's the word that we use to describe our program. It is holistic. It incorporates many different aspects of the client's life, including the family, because recovery is also a journey that one feel as though they're experiencing alone, but we know that recovery also impacts the wider circle. So our program is comprehensive in that sense, in that it focuses on various elements of the recovery process and various elements of what the client's needs, the spiritual healing, the emotional, physical healing. So we're looking at a wide, comprehensive team that we have from the medical team, the clinical staff, nutritional staff, all coming together to ensure that we can provide this holistic care. And we're also looking at how we can help you achieve abstinence while with us, but continue to do that, and hence the 12-step recovery process. So that in a nutshell, a little bit, I know Tiffany is going to expand a little bit more on various elements of the program to broaden it a bit. But that is an overview of our holistic approach to recovery.
If you're just joining us, you're listening to Independency, and we are speaking with Dr. Jean-Machelle out in Antigua, Jean-Machelle Benn-Dubois, that is, and Tiffany Smith. They are speaking to us from Antigua right now, and we are speaking about that beautiful facility they have. They call Crossroads, and again, we're going to give you a tour of that, a virtual tour of it in a while. But Tiffany now could jump in here now, Natasha.
Yes, Tiffany is the admissions coordinator. She's a master level therapist and a master's level registered addiction specialist. And she's going to tell us now about the services that you provide, because it is a range of services, about the program itself, the minimum duration. How long is it? Is it the typical 90 days? Is it longer? Go into that a bit for us, Tiffany, please.
All right, great. Thank you for having us once again. I want to say welcome to all the persons, you're listening and your viewing audience. It's very exciting to be speaking now to your audience. And I really want to build on a lot of the points that Dr. Benn-Dubois has just brought out. So she mentioned that we're a holistic program. I'm going to be starting off on the number of services that we offer here at Crossroads Centre Antigua. And these include 24-hour nursing care, a medical doctor on staff, psychiatric evaluation, assessments, psychological assessments, 12-step support groups. Smoking cessation is also a service that we offer. Yoga, physical trainer comes on site as well daily for persons who work on their fitness. We have a dietitian on site who works with persons working on their diet, who also collaborate with the kitchen staff. We have really great meals and meal plans that are part of our services as well. There is acupuncture, there's morning meditations every day, there's education on a wide variety of subjects, ranging from medical to psychological issues, managing anger, as well as a family program. So that's a really important part of our program as well. We also offer continuing care follow-up for persons leaving our treatment, where would be the best place for them to go to, etc. So we really are looking from the individual at all angles to make sure that when they're leaving us stronger, better, rejuvenated, and equipped for recovery.
Perfect. What is the duration of an average stay at Crossroads, or is it tailored to the individual clients?
Well, there are a number of things that we would take into consideration for that. The minimum, however, is 30 days. That's the minimum that persons can come in to us for. The maximum at this point is also 2 months. So anywhere from 30 days to 2 months, but we'll work with the individual according to what their budget can cover, according to, you know, what their needs are, what they're able to commit to, etc.
And you mentioned budget. Is entry or admission to Crossroads prohibitive to the average person, and how can persons access those services that you just mentioned?
Okay, so it all starts with a phone call and you explaining what your situation is. A part of our program philosophy is that we want to help as many persons as possible without money being an issue. However, of course, we're a business, and so there's a limit in terms of how much we can help each person, but we do offer financial assistance. So our standard cost is $15,000. So the standard cost is 15. Hello?
Sorry, go ahead. I thought I was off mic. Go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So the standard cost for 1 month treatment is $15,500 and persons can always apply for financial assistance if they think that this is not feasible for them, and we would try to assist as much as possible to get any sort of reduction that may be more feasible for the individual, but that depends on the phone call and the assessment and the outcome of that.
No, you all offer scholarships as well. It's available. Tell us more about that.
Yeah, so that's an application process. It's the same financial assistance application that I'm speaking about. So we would send them an application. We'd get to know a little bit about what their financial situation is, or if there's a third party paying, etc. And then we would make a determination from there as to how much of a reduction we're able to offer on the full cost.
And do you provide, is that the same cost across the board, or citizens of Antigua Barbuda offered some leeway on that? Or Caribbean nationals?
Well, we do provide full scholarships for locals. And I think that is only fair to understand that, you know, locally, we are it when it comes to addiction recovery. Mm-hmm. There isn't option. And one of the things we bear in mind in our assessment process is that we are working with clients who are coming from around the world. And for many of them, there are many options to choose from. Yes, our facility provides a serene environment, and persons would want to come to a serene environment. They want to come to the sunshine. They want to come and take themselves away from their stressful environment and be with us. But when it comes to Antiguans and Barbudans, we are it. There are no other options. And as a result of that, once we do have a local person seeking and motivated for help, and they do qualify, they're provided with a full scholarship. The other thing that we look at is that our Caribbean nationals, we do have persons who are coming from places where, again, there are no options. And if there are no options, then we also would work with them. So it's very individualized in terms of what we can provide support for. So that process that Tiffany spoke about is very important for us. It's an assessment to determine what your financial situation is, what your support is. And we are very honest. I think that's one of the things that I love. We practice the 12-step philosophy. And in our honesty, we would not want you to take all your savings to buy a ticket to come to us. If we are not the option for you.
Right.
But we can provide some other support for you in your location, then we would actually help you find that support and encourage you to utilize it. Because it's one thing to provide a scholarship for someone to come into treatment, but when we're looking at recovery being a lifelong process, we need to ensure that your recovery can be sustained.
No, Dr. Jean-Machelle, you mentioned the 12-step philosophy, so let's focus on that for a bit. 12-step program, and folks, if you're just joining us, you listen to Independency, of course, and we are speaking with Dr. Jean-Machelle, Benn-Dubois, and Tiffany Smith, or they're in Antigua, and they're telling us about their rehab facility, Crossroads, and what it offers and provides for their citizens, and of course, regionally and international clients as well. Now, the 12-step program, I admit I had a problem, and my life became unmanageable. I need help. And you followed that. That is infused in the programs. Tell us more about that.
It is. It is infused to the point where our clients do not have an option not to be engaged in the education, not to be engaged in the group work, not to be engaged in a big book studies, or not to be engaged in working their steps. One of the things that we emphasize is that 12-step is not a religion. And we meet each person where they're at, and that's where the education component is important. It's a philosophy that has been proven over time and is proven to be successful in helping persons maintain their recovery. So our clients work through the steps when they're with us. The very basic one that they would look at when they come in is honesty. And you know that I keep on saying honesty. Honesty starts very much with, of course, admitting that there's a problem and that you've lost control and that you do need that help. And the work that we do with the therapist, because we're a strongly clinical-based program, and the work that we're doing with the clinician is working towards that honesty, working towards step one. And our clients move through various steps, and they work at their own pace. We really, truly do not hurry through everyone at the same pace. You work at your own pace, so you may leave 4, or you may leave treatment completing step 8. It varies for each person because you're working with your individual therapist on that. And as you know, one of the features of 12-step, of course, is the group support. And that is very strong in our program. Yes, we provide individual therapy, but our clients must also do the group work as well.
Right, because
we also look at sponsorship for the clients as well. And we'll talk a little bit more about what happens in the aftercare, but there's a sponsorship component that comes into play as well.
Right, because there are a number of people who would contact us from time to time seeking help for a family member, especially. And they sometimes they go away disappointed, or I feel disappointed too, because having walked the road myself, surrender is a thing that they need to understand, that if you cannot force someone to go to rehabilitation. They have to want
true.
it. Could you elaborate on that, please?
That you put it correctly. It is true. But one of the things we look at the assessment component, as emphasized in terms of the assessment, is that we are looking at your readiness for change. Yes, someone must want it, but we need everyone at a different level. It may be that you've experienced so much consequences that you're ready now to take that step towards abstinence. Or it may be that a significant person in your life is saying you have a problem and you're beginning to wonder, but you're not ready to give up completely. And what we do in the assessment period is to see where you are in terms of your level of change, where you are in terms of your motivation, what support mechanism that you have, and also what can we use to motivate you, whether it may be a job, because we do partner with employers, whether it's family member, a spouse, a lover, everything that's at our disposal. Because as I said, addiction for us is that it's individual, but at the same time, it affects everyone around you.
Now, you said something very important. Can I come to you? No, let's say I have a crack problem or alcohol problem, and I'm afraid to tell my employer. Can I come to you and say, look, I need to come in here, I need help, but I need to let my employers know. How can you help me? Do you all intervene in that type of a way?
Yes, we do.
Really?
We do assist, and Tiffany is really a point person in that there are times where we have to hold our clients' hand and walk through them through that very first stage, which means we are speaking to the employer. And we seek permission to do this. And once we've gotten it, then we walk hand in hand with the client because they need the support. And what we have found over the years as well, to at least our data proves it to be so, those clients who have that support, which means they also have a monitoring system built in, they are more likely to sustain their recovery as opposed to someone who's not accountable to anyone other than themselves. So if we do have that person saying, I want help, but I don't know how to tell the person, or what we normally get is, how do we share this with a friend or children?
Mm-hmm.
Because very often the addict would have broken off many family ties, many loved ones, because they're tired and they're upset and they're frustrated. And so they would have, put that addict aside. But because we know support is essential in the admissions process, we're seeking to see what support we can find, and we're walking with them that way. I don't know if Tiffany wants to add anything else to that, because she deals with that on a day-to-day basis.
Yes, Tiffany. Can you?
Yes. Yes, certainly there's a lot of working along with the family member, working along with, the child who's, trying to assist the parent, the co-worker or the boss, etc. So there's a lot of conversations that need to be had, and sometimes even encouraging these persons to really have an intervention, making the steps necessary for that person to really take what this journey requires seriously.
Yes, and as you say that, I mean, how I suppose the admission process will help the client, him or herself, to understand what is required of them when they enter treatment, because a lot of the times they probably just want a break, but they don't really appreciate the amount of work that has to go into recovery.
They don't. And I think, one of the things I just want to emphasize when you talk of facilities, that we have to clarify for a person, this is not a vacation. It may look like you're coming for a vacation, but this is work. There's a schedule that, Tiffany, if you have the schedule, perhaps you can give a little bit an idea. So from the morning the client wakes up to the very evening when they go to bed, it's filled with activities that they must engage in. And as I say, it's a very strong clinical program. And the reason that it's so strong in the clinical component is because, as we know, feelings, emotions is one of the things we run from. The pain it causes, and we don't want to deal with it. And the clinical part of the program is helping you to identify your triggers, how to manage, how to express your emotions. And if we can give our clients that foundation in doing it, because life doesn't stop. It's going to come at you constantly, but you need to be able to deal with the emotional pain that comes. We also have clients with a lot of duality. So we have dual diagnosis. We have trauma, depression, anxiety. Those are all other components outside of the addiction, and sometimes the client is self-medicating. And that's why the education component comes into play, so they can understand what they are doing and what they're attempting to do, and why that other element needs to be treated as well. So it's a clinical program because we recognize that the foundation is needed if we're going to sustain recovery.
If you're just joining us, you're listening to Independency, and we are speaking with Dr. Jean-Machelle Benn-Dubois and Tiffany Smith out there at Crossroads in Antigua. And you can join us also on Facebook Live or on our YouTube channel, Independency. And we're going to have now coming up, we have a couple testimonies from past clients of Crossroads. And then we're going to give you a tour of this facility. It's really a beautiful place. It's a beautiful setting. It's fabulous. I can't continue, to stress that more. I just love this place, how it looks. And it's built for recovery. The ambiance is wonderful. And before we go to that break, Natasha, I just want go ahead.
No, I just wanted Tiffany to elaborate a little bit about the admissions process. What happens from the time someone picks up the phone and calls you, whether it is the addict, him or herself, whether it's a spouse, whether it's a child? Walk us through that process.
Okay, so the admissions process starts with that phone call, especially the phone call directly from that person saying that they need help in their crisis moments, when they have a moment of clarity. And then we begin an assessment. We, of course, would go through some information about the facility and do a bit of screening just to ensure that they know exactly what it is they're getting themselves into and that they're ready to make that step. When we actually go through the assessments, that's also done over the phone, and it's really an in-depth conversation. So it's their first taste of realizing that this is not something easy. I'm going to be asking them a number of questions through a conversation format where we are going into any traumas in their childhood, history of abuse, if there are any family situations or family genetics that we need to be aware of. Hereditary side of addiction as well is something that we have to consider. Medical situations, past surgeries, have you hit your head? Are you experiencing hallucinations? Those things as well. Psychiatric and psychological issues are also what we're going to delve into and start to trash out and piece together. And really the point of that assessment is not only to assess your level of motivation, assess your willingness for change and for opening up and beginning that process of honesty, but also to ensure that you are ready and that you are in a place where we are able to care for you in the best way possible.
Now, folks, we have to. There are a number of people, even in our country in Trinidad and Tobago, it's a Caribbean thing, especially tourist destinations. We always see this. There's a spike in substance abuse and its related ills. Now, there are a lot of families here are in denial. Bad. We find that constantly. There are parents who would call, and I always tell them, anytime you call me, it's because you tried everything else and it didn't work. No, you want an answer. What interventions are needed? How do we convince a family that there's an elephant in the living room and you need to do something about it?
It very varies based on the family situation. I will tell you that I am so happy that there's a particular specialty when it comes to addiction that looks at working with families through interventionists. And interestingly, we do have interventionists in the Caribbean right there in Trinidad, because we've actually worked with them. And what they do is that they do work with that family to get the bravery.
Seems that we're having a little technical difficulty with Dr. Jean-Machelle's hookup.
We lost you for a minute there. Are you still hearing us?
If you're just joining us, you're listening to Independency, and we ask you, if you know a family who's struggling with addiction right now, please share this program with them this evening and let them
Okay.
listen to this intervention that we're doing here this evening so that you all can understand addiction and what it entails and what you must do. Do we have her back?
Yes, I think I'm back.
Okay, great. Go ahead.
And so the interventionists work with them to face that client and to let them know how they have experienced their addiction. And sometimes the interventionist approach may be more direct, where they're saying, this is what we've faced and we're tired of it, and this is what we've arranged for you to be in treatment. You need to pack, you need to leave, or we are withdrawing from you. Then you have other models which uses very different approach, which is why I said for us, it's really speaking to that family and seeing where that family is at. And if there is someone or interventionist in their location that could walk that journey with them, we do refer. If not, then we would try to assist them long distance in making that call as well.
All right, so we're going to take a quick break, and when we return, we look more at the expectations of when you get into rehab, the detox period, the schedule, how that works, and of course the recovery process, the continuing care. We still have a lot to touch on with the folks at Crossroads in Antigua, and again we're going to have a couple testimonies for you from some clients who stayed there, and we're going to give you a virtual tour of the facility. And folks in Tobago, I hope you all are locked on and ready to ask your questions when that time, or you can tell us how you feel about what you've seen. And then I would like to touch on as well the approach to rehabilitation. Some people tend to think that rehabilitation is you just stop smoking, just stop drinking, and we move on. But there is a lot that goes with it. We'll hear more about that when we return right here on Our Independency. Stay right there.
Garth St. Clair, Natasha Nunez, Eye on Dependency, on air and everywhere on I-95.5, the most influential name in radio.
Doing household chores is not child labor. Doing the dishes, cleaning their bedrooms, packing up toys and carrying out other character-building tasks at home is not child labor. These chores teach children to be responsible and prepare them for when they become older. Report child labor to the Labor Inspectorate at 299-0300 option 3. Or Childline at 131 or 800-4321.
Hola, aquí vemos noticias emocionantes. Childline, junto con UNICEF, creó una aplicación para niños y jóvenes. ¿Quieres una selección de avatares geniales y coloridos para elegir? ¡Chequea! Necesitas una web privada para escribir tus pensamientos y sentimientos. ¡Chequea! ¿Qué tal un lugar para hacer un seguimiento de tus estados de ánimo diario? ¡Chequea! Además, alguien siempre está esperando al otro lado del chat en vivo para hablar sobre cualquier cosa. La aplicación Childline también coloca tus derechos como niño en la palma de tu mano. Solo pregúntale a Nexa. También hay otros recursos divertidos y educativos, de seguridad y útiles disponibles en la aplicación. Descarga la aplicación Childline hoy y tú también puedes tener acceso a todo esto y más.
Agricola is back with loan promotions that will make you go wow! Wow! 60 to 40 loan for new members or members with no loan. Get a maximum of $300,000 with just a 1% interest rate. Call or come into our offices at Pro Queen Street, Arima, 667-7633. Pamela's Mall, Marabella, 219-7745. Scarborough, Tobago, 639-6468. Or Port of Spain, 627-3127. Agricola Credit Union, your very own, working for you.
You're listening to Eye on Dependency with Garth and Natasha. Reality radio at its best.
Thank you for staying with us. This is Eye on Dependency, and we are live on I-95.5 FM and on our Facebook page and our YouTube channel. We are speaking this evening with Dr. Jean-Machelle, Benn-Dubois, and Miss Tiffany Smith from the Crossroads Centre in Antigua, and we're continuing our conversation with them about the services they provide and their approach to drug treatment. Now, looking at the images on your website and seeing the videos and knowing the foundation of Crossroads, people may think, I mean, I looking at the pictures might think I could go and take a little, weekend away and stay at Crossroads. But so how do you balance those expectations that people may have of your facility as being relaxing, yes, but resort friendly, as in not requiring the kind of work that is expected for recovery? How do you strike that balance?
Well, certainly, we want persons to feel comfortable in our compound as much as possible. However, it's very important, even at the assessment stage and even at that first initial phone call, for us to really go through what are some of the expectations that are going to be required of this person while they're with us, so that there will be scheduled activities, that they will be expected to attend all of the scheduled activities on time. That there's going to be group therapy, there's going to be individual therapy, and that packed schedule, that there's going to be limited access to their phones or limited access to the internet or their emails as well. It's something that we go through with them, because often persons even come in thinking, well, I'm taking a little break, but I still want to work and I still want to go on Facebook and follow what's going on social media or all of these things as well. That's really a distraction from these persons, from recovery. I mean, distraction from recovery. And so we would be going through a lot of those things with them as well. We send them information about the facility and what is going to be expected of them, what they can expect, some of our rules, behaviors that would result in discharge, so that, if you are breaking this rule, etc., that there's going to be a concerned staffing procedure that we would do, or certain behaviors that would result in discharge, coming in and being sexually inappropriate or verbally aggressive, those sorts of behaviors not tolerated. And so we really give them everything before them for them to decide if this is something that they are ready to agree to.
Yes. And of course, you did mention 24-hour medical care, so that persons like alcoholics who will need medical attention when they are detoxing, and other medical attention. I mean, persons who use drugs generally are unhealthy physically. So you have the facility to take care, to manage those needs as well.
Yes, we do. The program
Yes.
starts with medical detox, and all clients are medically supervised where they go through that very difficult period of removing the toxic substance from their body. And during that period, they're supervised by 24-hour medical team. We do have a doctor and staff, but we do have other doctors who are on rotation. I think persons tend to overlook how serious addiction is, and assume that persons can stop if they want to stop, just stop. But it's not as easy as that. And we know, especially when it comes to alcohol, stopping immediately simply because you're told to could actually lead to death. And that is why persons are supervised. We watch over them. Medical team assist them with the withdrawal symptoms, whether it's alcohol or it could be, cocaine, because we are seeing a wide variety of substance use. As the world changes, as the addiction changes, we see it at Crossroads Centre. The Caribbean, generally, we are a tourist destination, which means whatever happens in the developed world, we will see it here as well. And so we are seeing a wide spectrum of substances. And so the medical detox is the first thing that we take care of. When our clients are stabilized, then we begin to work on the other components of the program. And that's the clinical program, the nutritional assessment, the alternative therapy, such as the meditation, acupuncture. We incorporate all those other elements. And again, this is because we believe recovery must be holistic. I recently had someone actually from Holland, and they wanted to find out, they considered acupuncture and meditation to be luxury items and wondered if they could remove that component from the program to reduce the cost. And I had to be very clear with them that it cannot be taken out. All our clients must get the holistic, comprehensive care because each element of it addresses a particular need. We have persons who are struggling with pain. Acupuncture works very well with that. So we incorporate this for the holistic needs of our clients. Then our clients would also begin their assessment for discharge at that initial stage. And here's where we're looking to see what's going to be your continuing care after you leave our doors. So we work with a staff member who's assessing to see, do you need to change people, place, thing? Do you need to change your location? How can we get that set up for you? What's your support team going to look like in your new location? We also have alumni chapters located at different places around the world. And we also would enroll our clients into that for that ongoing support. We ensure that they do have a sponsor before they leave our shores as well. Because as I said, we follow the 12-step philosophy from start right through. Then our alumni coordinator is making connection with that person up to 2 years after they've left our shores. And this is to see whether or not their recovery is on track or they do need some additional services. So we're constantly doing research to find what do we need to provide for our client. Did the client follow up with their psychiatrist? Have they been compliant with their psychotropics? Could that be one of the factors why we're seeing them starting to self-medicate once more with the cocaine? So these are some of the questions that we are asking even when the client has left our shores. So we're constantly, we're a little bit possessive. Our clients, you come to Crossroads and you're us for life. You're part of our family. And maybe it's a little bit ridiculous, but we refuse to give you up.
And that's good. That's good. But you spoke about a sponsor. Now, could you explain that in case people might misunderstand the concept of the word sponsor?
Well, the sponsor is part of the 12-step philosophy. It's really that person who would have been in the 12-step and in recovery for a period of time, who can walk this journey with you to help partner with you for you to understand the triggers, give you the continuous support. They also continue education as to what it means to live a life of abstinence. So it is that person that I think the best way I can equate it to say, like, you're a child and you do have your mommy or a best friend you go to, and this is what has happened to me recently, or example, relationships. We would tell our clients, stay away from relationships for at least a year because you need to focus on yourself, self-love. Now it is your sponsor that you would go to because suddenly you have formed an attraction and you're thinking of venturing out there. And so your sponsor was going to be guiding you with some of the expectations, also kind of keeping you on that path as to whether or not this is something you should be engaged in at this time. So the sponsor is someone who walks that journey with you, teaching you, but also giving you appropriate advice and guidance as needed.
If you're just joining us, you're listening to Independency, and we are speaking with Dr. Jean-Machelle, Benn-Dubois, and Tiffany Smith from Crossroads Rehabilitation Facility out there in Antigua. And Shortman, let's go to one of these before we continue with the speaking. Let's go to the first B, and let's hear from a Crossroads alumni, Andrea. Let's hear what Andrea had to say, and then we'll ask Tiffany and Dr. Jean-Machelle to elaborate on that.
When I was drinking and using, I thought I was the only person in the world that felt like that.
Oh, it's after the first the second ad block. So you're looking at the letter B, and you're looking for Andrea.
There was a way to
so let's try that. Yeah, and hopefully we're going to give you a tour of this beautiful facility in a while. Shortman is going to pull up the correct clip in a while, so that you can actually hear from Andrea, alumni of Crossroads, and what she experienced. And folks, you know someone who should be in rehab. I'm sure you know one. Please join us. So Shortman, when you're ready, let's go. and that we looking at Andrea's testimony. And while Shortman is looking at it, I want to elaborate on what Dr. Jean-Michelle just said. Jean-Michelle said about the sponsor and the person being that person who can, take you by the hand, especially when you feel like your recovery journey is slipping away from you. That person is always there for you to call, or should be there for you to call when you have that craving or that kind of thing, and to sort of talk you down, talk you out of it. And so it's like almost like a mentor too as well. So Shortman, when you're ready, let's go to that video. All right, here we go.
No, it's the same one.
I met some friends who they're dealers, crack cocaine. I followed them to a home where they storage, where they keep their stuff. And there was this big bag, like a flour bag, full of crack. And I was specifically told not to touch it. But knowing myself and how adventurous I am, I took up some and I sprinkled it in my joint. And that I was out. I felt high for days. For all those years, I became really addicted to the point where my body now depended on it. One day, I got a seizure. That was my first seizure. I lost my son due to smoking and drinking while being pregnant. And then now I started to get seizures when I don't smoke. I was carried back to Crossroads. I was awakened to a really, really different feeling. I need to stop this. And then I started to feel tired. And I started to think about my mom. I don't want my mom to die before I stop smoking and drinking. And I started to think about all other people around me that I've hurt. And with the help of the Almighty Father, I'm sober for a number of years. And Crossroads has done all this for me. And I'm grateful. I'm sorry, my eyes is wet, but I'm really grateful.
Yeah, so that was Andrea. She's one of the many hundreds, thousands of alumni of Crossroads.
How is Andrea doing now, folks?
I think just as she indicates, she's doing well, but I wanted to emphasize something that came from that clip. And one of the things that the clip shared is Andrea saying that this was not her first attempt.
Yes.
She was carried back to Crossroads. And I think that is the point that I wanted to focus on, simply because with recovery, we would like to think, and I've heard persons in the public say so many times that and I'm going to go into a dialect, they mean for do what they do.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And that comes from lack of understanding. Not understanding how when you're an addict, it's a mental change, it's a physical change, it's a cognitive change. Your brain changes. It's as though each day you get up and you know when you're hungry and you know that you need food. You know when you're thirsty and you must drink water. Your brain has now been programmed to know when you need a high, when you need to have that pleasure principle, when you need that to use it to cope, to get away from pain. There are many factors behind addiction. The genetic component that Tiffany spoke about. There's the behavioral that Andrea spoke about. She was told to leave it alone and she decided, I'm going to because that's just me. Curiosity. Then you talk about your environment, how easy accessible the substance is. She was taken to a home, that's where it was. Then you have for other persons where it is also about the family genetic component. So there are many factors that's involved when it comes to addiction. And those factors mean that your recovery journey may start, and stop again.
Yes, because there are people. I was about to ask, would there be people, because you have clients from even from Trinidad and Tobago regionally and internationally as well. Now, there are many times people would say, okay, they come to rehab either for themselves or somebody forced them to come, or they get the threat of job loss. People would start that rehab journey and then decide, I'm ready to go. I'm gone. I'm ready to leave. How many times you all would have experienced that? And what do you do? Tiffany laugh.
We experience it, but not very often. I mean, Tiffany will emphasize, but we are very fortunate that, yes, it's something that happens. Perhaps it's our location, but we don't experience it very often. But we have experiences with it. Tiffany, talk a little bit about that.
Yes, as he was asking the question, I was thinking of specific instances when we have gone through that. As infrequent as they do happen. Persons are so unaccustomed to beginning to feel, to beginning to really talk about some of these negative experiences that they have been through, or to face some of the things that they would have done in their active addiction, that it just feels like the best thing to do right now is to just go right back to it and just continue to feel good, as temporary as it may be, that might just be the best option, against all reasoning, against all of the consequences that have come about in their lives, that, there are persons who, because of all of these changes, cognitive, physical, psychological changes, genetic components, that what they resort to, even when they have just started the journey in treatment. And you think of persons who make that decision while they're just starting the journey, and then you think of persons who have been in the journey for so long, and they also turn back to their old habits when something challenging or something difficult comes up again. And that's really something that we have to be sensitive to. And it's really a lot of meeting the person where they are. And of course, the decision is theirs at the end of the day, but we will continue to work with them regardless.
All right. So
as long as they're willing to.
Right, sure, man. So let's go to another Crossroads alumni. This time we hear from Kelvin, and he tell his story and his stay at Crossroads. So let's go to Kelvin. And you're listening to Independence right here on 95.5 FM, live on the Independence Facebook page and YouTube channel. Let's go to Kelvin.
Kelvin, most people may know me as Mongoose. I'm 34 years old. Antiguan, born raised artist by profession. I do tattoos, body arts, graffiti, piercings, you name it. A little bit of makeup, anything pertaining to art. I pretty much dabble in it. And I've been doing that since high school. I went to parties, I went to every fete, I went to every event, I went to everything. And of course, with partying, I mean, what's partying without some good old liquor, right? And I just thought it was normal to drink every day. I did that to get rid of a lot of emotional problems, a lot of trauma I've been through early childhood. Where I came from wasn't necessarily the best place. And drinking was a comfort zone to me. It's what made me happy then, in the misery and in the chaos. It's what made me happy. The drinking started to take over my life without me actually knowing. And it never got any better. It just got progressively worse and worse and worse. And, became depressed, thoughts of suicide. I didn't want to be alive. I didn't want to live anymore. Drugs and alcohol was just messing me up. And I just wasn't myself. I lost contact with myself. I lost my way of self-being. I just lost touch with life entirely. Then I started getting in trouble, financial issues, poor health, and my life just became chaotic. I always thought everyone else was around me was the problem, not me. Things got really, really crazy. And I was asked by my family members if I want to go and get professional help, if I want to seek help. I've heard of Crossroads Centers. But I thought Crossroads was for crazy people. My breaking point was me just being sick and tired of being sick and tired. So if you understand me, I got sick and tired of being sick and tired. Every day is the same old BS. I was like, yeah, I will go. Because I know I needed help. You know, deep down inside of all that, I know I ain't no normal person drinking every day. And I made that phone call. So I went to the treatment center and I thought I was going to be greeted by a lot of folks dressed in all white or something. But it was nothing like that, but I was greeted with a lot of love and very nice people. It's the best decision I've ever made in my life. It's going to Crossroads Centre. Best decision I've ever made. That's what matters to me, because my life is better.
Alvin and his journey are very
6 months.
interesting. It's nice to hear from persons who can acknowledge when they need help, because that, I mean, we say that is the first step really, when the addict, him or herself, acknowledges that they need help, and to have somewhere to go when you come to that realization is important.
Yes, it is. And I like what he said, folks, about he was just tired of being sick and tired.
Yes.
And is it safe to say then that I know there's a mantra we use to in the 12-step program, jails, institutions, or death. And the only thing, well, I survived, right? But there are people who must it reach to that point where a person say, look, I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired, I need help? Or you can still talk someone into, oh yes, okay, I need help, take me.
It varies for everyone.
Right.
I think, and I think we see sometimes it's about the age group as well too. But I like to go back to client number one of Crossroads Centre. Client number one, he was not at that point of hit rock bottom as yet. Was still employed, but still recognized he had a problem. And this way of living was just not good enough. Getting up every day and doing the same thing is just not living. What is really happening is, I like the way in which, Kelvin said happy, and he does the quotation, because what is happy? We assume that drinking every day, that is what it is, but that wasn't what it is. And for client number one, 23 years later, he is still sober. So it varies. The story is very different for everyone. And that's why I think I like this part of your program. We are showing various clips from our website, because the public gets an opportunity to see that addiction is for everyone. And everyone comes on the journey in their own way, in their own time, with their own story, but with one common goal. They want recovery. They want a better life. They want to experience a better life than this, because this way just isn't living. You're just existing for the substance.
All right. As we famously do, we run out of time here very quickly. So I would like to go to, well, first, the next steps for anyone interested, or who has a friend or family member. And of course, you can tell us how they can visit Crossroads website and all of these, how they contact you folks out there.
Okay, well, they can get in touch with Crossroads Center through the website. There's a website form that they can fill out that will come directly to us. They simply have to visit www.crossroadsantigua.org. They can also email direct to admit, that's ADMIT, at crossroadsantigua.org. Or they can call direct during business hours at 268-562-0035. They simply need to call and ask to speak to someone in the admissions department. They'll get either myself or Dr. Benn-Dubois. We would be going through some of the information we would have discussed today. We'll also be speaking to them about some of the provisions we've made in light of COVID-19. We do have some protocols that are in place at the center because of the virus. We want to make sure that everybody is safe. And then, of course, we would go through the assessment that we discussed to ensure that, our facility may be the best fit for this person, or if we need to refer the person onward. We'd go through the financial situation as well. And then they'd really just have to make a booking for a flight once everything has been approved and we've covered all of the bases and approvals necessary ahead of that admission. Of course, it does sound a little scary, and perhaps it is, but I assure you that once you reach out and give us a call, we are skilled at making sure that you're comfortable, that you are in a position where you can open up comfortably with us, that we'll make you feel at home in sharing your story, and that it will be a good decision at the end of the day.
Yes, and scary is right for some people, to give up that life of freedom and going when I want, coming when I want, smoking when I want, to have somebody now tell me when to wake up and when to have breakfast, when to have lunch, and control me literally. It's kind of scary for some people. And some people need to understand that humility also is a very important part of that recovery process. And there are a number of people who want to do it their way and still recover. And so, but let's go to clip D, Shortman, D as in Delta. We're going to hear from the founder and the man who came up with the concept and everything, Mr. Eric Clapton. And of course, Eric Clapton, a musical genius, musical multiple Grammy Award winner, son. And but he had his run-in with the drug as well, and he felt that, hey, this is the way to go. So here is him now, giving a brief history about the facility, and then we're going to take that virtual tour, especially for our friends in Tobago. I think you'll want to see this. So let's hear from Mr. Clapton, and then we'll take a virtual tour of Crossroads.
I'm Kelvin. Most people may know me as Mom.
When I was drinking and using, I thought I was the only person in the world that felt like that. And then I found out, bit by bit, that there were millions of people just like me, and that there was a way to recover and restore our lives to the way they were meant to be. And there are lots of people like that here, and now they have somewhere to go. And the aim of what we do here is to introduce people to the concept of abstinence through the 12 steps of recovery. It was initially intended for the local people of Antigua, but our doors are open to everybody. We're a charity and we depend on donations. When necessary, there would be scholarships, which meant they could come if they had no money we would take care of that. They could come in. The team principally consists of local people, and many of them have been here from day one. And they are absolutely, genuinely devoted to this place. They love it, and they're very protective of it, and they're loyal to a fault. The biggest gift of all is to be able to hand it on. Because the deep principle is you don't keep it unless you give it away. What's your love? If we get one person sober who comes in hopeless at the end of his tether with no life in view, and we send him out the door with a whole new hope for the future. That's what it's down to. Only the broken hearted.
Eric Clapton.
That's right. So, without further ado, folks, let's take a tour of this beautiful facility called Crossroads that we've been bragging about all this time.
Yes.
I guarantee you're going to be impressed. And
we can take your calls or comments on Facebook or YouTube, and your calls at 622-3937 if you have any questions for Dr. Benn-Dubois or for Tiffany Smith. Please reach out and
let's take this tour. I really want to let's start this
let's
tour.
roll through the pictures.
Yes, let's take this tour show, and I want you people to tell your chief secretary in Tobago, whoever it is, and Mr. Watson Duke and all of these folks. We need to have something like this in Tobago.
There is currently no residential drug treatment facility on the island of Tobago, which is really that's not the optimum. And there are addicts in Tobago who have to come to Trinidad for treatment, and that is not ideal. So
let's
we would love to have for Tobago to have its own facility, and that could look a lot like this.
Okay. So let's if you can tell us what we see in here now. This is a beautiful pool. Really, really beautiful pool.
Yeah, that would be where we do a lot of our aqua aerobics, or when our clients are in the detox in particular, they're not stable enough to be engaging utilizing the gym. So this is where we would start them off. It's also one of the relaxation points for our clients. But one of the things we like to say is that every space is therapeutic in its use. So it's a pool. It's what we do use for aqua aerobics.
Telling me, I mean, look at this pool. This is fabulous. And look, I think what have we now is this is the dining area.
This is the main dining area.
Right.
Overlooking the ocean.
I want people to look at the ambience too. Look at the surroundings, right? Look at the surrounding of this place, and I can't keep, I must keep saying it. I must be bringing it up. We need to have something like this here in Trinidad as well, and in Tobago as well. At some point, we need to.
This is the gazebo. This is where we hold our morning meditation. So as you know, we have a schedule, and each morning our schedule begins with meditation, and it's often held in the gazebo.
Right. Wow.
We often have like medallion ceremonies as well, and persons are being sent off. When they're leaving treatment and we're acknowledging all their accomplishments, that's also held, that ceremony, so to speak, is also held here.
Right. Okay. And it's as big as it looks from here, right?
Yeah, I think you're looking at the family cottage area where we do have this particular area where our family members stay when they do arrive for the family program. As I said, we do include the family, and family is very important in what we do.
Oh, really?
And so the families would be housed separately from the clients. So this is a separate facility area for the family members or for professionals who would visit our site.
Wow.
Lovely. All right. Let's go to the other one. And this
is a room. It's double occupancy. So You would find 2 beds in the room.
Wow.
But we do have rooms with 1 individual beds as well.
Right. Yeah, this is beautiful. Well, and of course, the clients must keep it maintained and up to this standard at all times. So you have staff too that will assist in this.
We do have housekeeping staff, but a part of their recovery is, of course, self-care and caring for your environment.
Right.
So clients would be expected to keep their environment clean, but we do have housekeeping staff as well.
I mean, how can you not recover in this kind of facility? And of course, this is the shower, and each room they have a common. So every room has their own
suite.
Shower.
Each room has a attached bathroom.
Wow, this is beautiful. If you're joining us,
That's a
folks,
gazebo once more. Yeah.
yes, a gazebo. If you're just joining us, folks, you're looking at a virtual tour now of Crossroads Rehabilitation Center out there in Antigua.
This would be one of our group rooms, and you would see our the 12-step philosophy is right there in the background on the wall.
Yes.
And when the weather, does not permit outdoor activities, we would utilize the group rooms.
Indoors, right? Wow. This is really beautiful. It really looks relaxing, and I guess it's really tailored to recovery. And was this area the seafront? Is it by a popular beach, or is far away from everything else?
It's far. That's one of the things I love about it, because we can give our clients the privacy, the seclusion that they need to recover.
Right.
So it's far. It's at the far end of the island. It's not really suitable for sea bathing. So our clients would actually go to another beach for sea bathing. As you know, we have 365 beaches, so we have quite a bit to choose from.
Right. There's a gym. You have a gym. We're looking at a gym here now.
We do have a gym as well. And that is our personal trainer, Alexis.
Wow, and this is a huge gym too as well. I mean, you can rival any gym out here with this skin out here. And of course there's this massage is part of the therapy as well.
Well, currently, as a result of the COVID pandemic, that is one service that we have removed temporarily until we can get a stabilized situation with the COVID pandemic.
Right. And this is your medical doctor. Sorry.
No, as you mentioned COVID, how has COVID impacted on the services that you provide? We could just talk briefly about that. Tiffany, maybe.
Yes. So there is a criteria, of course, for simply entering into the country. You do need to have a PCR COVID-19 test.
Yep.
So that's something persons need to have coming in. And then once they arrive at our facility directly, they are going to be tested once again. There is a mandatory 5-day period where much of the interaction is only going to be with the medical staff, specifically, as we try to contain anything, as you're just traveled and coming in through the airport, etc. We want to make sure that we can catch anything early. So for the first 5 days, things are treated very cautiously. There are some restrictions in terms of going to all areas of the compound. And then once you're retested at the end of the 5 days and you are confirmed as negative, then you have all of the freedoms of, going to every area of the compound and interacting with the rest of the clients, etc.
Right, let's continue with the tour. So this area we're looking at here now is what? This is recreation area or just chill out? Guys, can you hear us?
This area is more in the back. It's one of the outdoor meeting space.
Right.
That our clients would use as well. As I said, when weather does not permit, then we would have our meetings in the group room indoors. When weather permits, we would utilize the outdoor space.
Right. If you're just joining us on radio, though, I'm sorry you can't see this, but at least we can try and describe it for you as much as we could. So we have a group of people now.
This is yoga on the outside.
Yoga, right.
Yeah, once the weather permits, we like using the outdoor space as much as possible. So this
Of
would be a
course.
group of persons they're having yoga.
Right.
This is the main foyer area.
Okay, this is what we're looking at here now is another shot of the gazebo from one angle, and this is the main foyer area. And then the best part that we look forward to as addicts, especially in the first 2 weeks, the chef, that food. And I always tell people addicts can eat, especially when we in a rehab, we can eat, we can throw down. I can tell you that. But this is your chef here. Oh, one of them.
One of our, one.
Wow, look at that menu. I'm getting hungry just looking at it. And you have two clients sitting by the seafront. Let's take a call. Let's take a call for Tiffany and Dr. Jean-Machelle in the meantime. Hello, good evening. Hello.
Do you hear me?
Yes, hearing you. Go ahead.
All right, this is Patrick, and I'm thoroughly impressed with what I'm hearing.
Yes.
And we in Tobago, we really long for a facility. May not readily reach the standard that Antigua has, and congratulations, in your work and your effort over there, Dr. and Tiffany. It's something that is needed in the island in Tobago, right? But we don't seem to be getting the needed support, right? People seem to think, it's the addict problem, that's their problem, and, I heard you stressing on the family support.
Yes.
And what we find happening when we did have a quasi sort of a rehab going here is that we were having difficulties in getting the family members involved in the treatment process.
Mm-hmm.
So what you find happening is that when the clients left the facility, the required support wasn't there. As a matter of fact, I don't think they understood fully or in any way the nature of addiction and the need for that kind of a continuing support, right?
Yes.
Currently, God, we are trying in Tobago here through our NGO to formalize a rehab facility. We are partnering now with a halfway house, right? They already cater for ex-prisoners and some persons who come out and may not have anywhere, but they only have space for 4 persons. So we're trying to, just this weekend, we were working on a timetable and so on to see, because we have a number of persons coming, looking for help, and they want it now. The addict's behavior, they want it and they want it now.
Yes.
Right? So, excuse me, we're hoping that this arrangement could work out and we could get a start and get the financial support from the THA, because, Tobago, it's not that economically viable kind of a place to ask for, people for business people and so on. So we need governmental support in having that going, right? But in the meantime, we intend before the year is out, right, to have something really going.
Yeah.
Right? So, and thanks again for your efforts and highlighting the plight of Tobagonians here. Marijuana is taking over the place. I don't know if it's with the decriminalization. A number of young persons, they're going stark crazy, right? And alcoholism, the national pastime, is just ruling the roost.
Yeah.
All right?
Yep.
Well, thanks, Patrick. Thanks very much. And I hope the authorities in Tobago are paying attention and maybe come to their senses sooner rather than later. Thanks again, brother.
Good luck with your efforts.
Yeah, good luck with your efforts, man.
I just wanted to comment on that as well, because I think that even COVID-19 has also impacted, particularly for young persons. I know, several persons as COVID-19 took place, the alcohol use, the marijuana use, that sort of pastime to just, go through each day has really risen as far as I can see in my own peer group.
Yep.
Yeah,
Definitely.
and he said something that really jolted me about. Oh yes, we could probably touch on that before you all leave. The the decriminalization of marijuana. I don't know what is that in Antigua like, but and how it has affected the young people. Hello, good evening. Hello, hello, good
Hello.
evening. Hello, are you hearing us? Okay.
As we try to get back
Yeah.
a caller.
Yes. Did that affect you all in Antigua at all? Or and is the marijuana decriminalized in Antigua first of all?
It is, and I think in the Caribbean, once one Caribbean island sneezes, the cold is caught in another island.
Right.
So what you would be experiencing in Trinidad and Tobago is no different from us. The decriminalization has led to an increased use, but the sad part is that the usage is affecting the younger population significantly because of the developing age and their body changing. So we have seen some significant increases and requests for help from the younger population, leading to from marijuana use.
Exactly, and we've had a phenomenon here too with people experiencing some serious psychotic episodes from some marijuana that they're using, and it's kind of crazy, especially among young people. Let's take another call. Hello, good evening.
Hi,
Hello.
good evening, Garth, Natasha.
Good evening.
And special greetings to Tiffany Smith and Dr. Jean-Machelle Benn-Dubois. This was really an informative session. I am Martha Berkeley from Tobago, and I'm part of Changing Lanes with Mr. Patrick George. And this program tonight was really informative and inspiring because we also have our fair share of challenges in Tobago, and especially among the youth with the decriminalization of the marijuana. We have been doing like outreach in different communities, and we are due to do a community outreach as we sort of lay a foundation for getting a rehab up and running once again in Tobago.
You think anywhere in sight, close? I mean, anything at all?
Well, God, I am hopeful and I'm a believer. We had one, I remember years ago when you were involved with us, we had nothing, and then the government came on board and we had a nice rehab facility up at the old hospital, and the powers that be found it. I don't want to speak on their behalf. Long story short, it was closed down.
Yeah.
And we are again knocking on the doors and trying to do some stimulation on the ground to get things going. Because like any developing country, drug use, drug abuse, and drug-related problems is something that must be addressed. Just as you would have hospitals, schools, and everything, that is an integral part of, a growing society.
Correct.
Indeed.
That's right. Well said. Well said. And again, we are going to keep trying from our end to continue to put fire under the authorities in Tobago that this is not something that you can put off, but it is really needed like yesterday. And
Yes.
we're going to keep doing as much as we can, Marva. Thank you so much.
Yes, and we do appreciate, and that virtual tour was awesome. I wish that God would raise up another Eric Clapton, but one for Tobago this time. I'm hopeful and we are praying. And, once again, thanks to the entire team. It was an excellent session this evening.
Thanks a lot, Marva.
Thank you
Take
very
care,
much
honey.
for calling.
Okay, bye.
Bye-bye. Beverly Ann Cruikshank said, I visited Antigua in 2006 for a Duke of Edinburgh Award activity. Thanks for your work and saving lives. So, folks, any parting words from you all, Tiffany and Dr. Jean-Michelle, to the people of Trinidad and Tobago, and, of course, to those by extension, regionally and internationally?
I think my parting word, I'll start off first by simply saying that recovery is possible. And that's the one message that I would like to leave. It is possible. Many have done it, and many will continue to do it.
All right, Tiffany?
And for me, I really wanted also to zoom in on the stigma that was brought out in one of the videos as persons are thinking about, I'm the only person going through this, people going to rehab is for crazy people. I'm not so far gone. All of these sort of rhetoric that's keeping persons trapped in their addiction. I'm urging persons to really look at how addiction is impacting families, societies on a whole, domestic violence, family integration, disintegration, and really take this problem seriously. And as Dr. Benn-Dubois just said, recovery is possible.
622-3937. Good evening.
God, good evening to you.
Good evening, sir.
I mean, that I said to you also, and take
Thank you. Good evening.
God, I was having a discussion here with my wife, and I'm a bit furious when I heard the people from Tobago and then the lady of the islands who said that since the decriminalization of marijuana, it has gone madness throughout. I remember I was on a program one morning when I said it would have led to this. A lot of people called in and condemned me because they said there is no scientific evidence, no data to support that. But as I told you of my brother, let him rest in peace. What I saw, and I know once you make that, you decriminalize that drug, that marijuana, what it would have led to. I only hope the authorities listening at this point, because it's something I feel strongly against. And I challenge that up to this day, when I read that act over and over, it have a lot of faults in it. It was hastened and rushed for playing the political game, but they satisfied the requirements of chosen few. And you see what we have in now? Look who's suffering as a result. Look who's paying the piper. Right?
Yeah.
We'll talk whenever I meet you, my brother. We'll talk.
Okay, brother. Thank you very much for your contribution. I know that would have been that's one of the fallout, because we even discovered Tiffany and Dr. Jean-Machelle. Police raided a block and they found magic mushrooms as well. And we know magic mushrooms can be mixed with marijuana. And I want to think that is some of these guys experimenting with that combination.
Hallucinogenics, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's kind of scary that we try to tell young people, but that's out the window now. That concept that letting young people know, like, you wait until you reach 25 to try drugs because that's when the brain is fully developed. That no longer exists, really. They're coming in very young, at a young age, right, doctor?
Yes, we only see persons from age 18.
Right.
But doesn't mean that we haven't gotten the requests of persons who are younger.
I hear you. So,
but sadly, we cannot take them.
Yeah.
Yeah, and most of the persons that we see, when you ask them, when did this start? They're giving ages like 12, 13, 11,
Yeah.
And so that's very significant.
That's really sad. Well, folks, once again, we thank you very much for being the professionals that you are. You really represented Crossroads very well this evening.
And stayed the entire course of the show.
And stayed the entire course of the show too.
That wasn't the plan.
Yes, but thank you so much for all the hard work you're doing out there. And we look forward, and we're going to keep in touch with you all, and feel free.
One day we'll get to visit. Hopefully.
Yes, maybe one day we'll surprise you all with a visit in Antigua there at Crossroads. We'll let you know. Maybe we plan to come to Antigua next week or next week after next or whatever. Once everything is eased up, and we'll see you all. All right. So God bless you all. Tiffany, Dr. Jean-Machelle, Benn-Dubois, for all your hard work you're doing with Crossroads, and all the family at Crossroads. God bless you all. You're most welcome.
You're welcome.
Take care. Okay. Bye-bye.
See you next week.
Okay. Bye. Sure. Okay. Bye-bye. All right, folks. So there you have it. That was the folks in Antigua and Tobago. I don't know what to say. I don't know what else to do.
I don't either.
I don't want to give up on you all. We don't want to give up, but
we keep getting the calls, and we know what is happening in Tobago on the ground.
Yeah.
And the question I just wanted to touch briefly on the whole decriminalization issue. That move was important, but it was not accompanied by the requisite education about this drug.
Yeah.
it's fine to decriminalize, because that's an important component of the whole thing. But you can't decriminalize a drug and still not educate people about how it is to be used or how it is to be bought and sold. All of those mechanisms weren't put in place. They decriminalize it. Election come, they come in. It didn't. Let me just say, it did not come with the education about the drug that was required. You don't just legalize something without
Decriminalize, not legalize.
Decriminalize something without the requisite information to the citizens.
Well, we have been trying to do it here as best as we can, and we continue to call for it to be placed on the curriculum in school as well. It's a must. We can't wait for another 10 years for somebody to come up with that idea. We need to do it yesterday. All right, folks. So God bless you all. Take care. Take good care. You see the numbers rising, so you all know what to do. You have to say that again either. Up next, Anglican Boys.
Good
Take care.
night.
Good night.